Hello, so in today's video is just going to talk a little bit about the Nintendo Switch. The Nintendo Switch is now 4 days old today on March 3rd. It's late March 3rd, but still March 3rd, Pacific Coast, at least for another 40 minutes. But yeah, Switch is 4 years old today, and just want to talk about that, like I said, for a minute. A couple things about like the amount of games I have, my top 4 games on the Switch so far. I'll show you my collection of Switch games and a few other things. So starting off, top 4 Switch games in order from 1 to 4. Number 1, Zelda Breath of the Wild. Interesting thing about Zelda Breath of the Wild is in a lot of ways it actually doesn't feel like a Zelda game because the dungeons are lacking and the story is lacking, but the game is just still so amazing overall. It's actually my all-time favorite game of all time, and I feel like the sequel can do a lot of things to improve the game, which is exciting. My number 2 favorite game on the Switch is Splatoon 2. It's funny because Splatoon, I actually had the first game on the Wii U. I'm one of the few people that actually had a Wii U, so I don't have a lot of the ports that people had. I have some of them, but not a lot of them, or very few of them anyway. But Splatoon, I didn't play much on the Wii U, but then I got into playing the second one and loved it, even though I don't typically play games online. Very rarely play games online. I'm pretty much a offline gamer. But yeah, Splatoon 2, amazing. I just like the fact that it's so unique in terms of the gameplay. You know, it's not like a typical shooter because of the way you get around, and the ink and everything's different. Music is a lot different. And they even added a good single-player DLC that I got that I still haven't beat, but I've enjoyed quite a bit. So that's my number 2. My number 3 is Astro Chain. I'd also say this is what I consider the most underrated game on the Switch. It got good reviews overall, but it didn't, it's not a game that sold like 20 million or 10 million or anything crazy like that. Last I heard, I think it was a little over 1 million. And so I feel like Astro Chain is going to be one of those games where when the Switch ends, its life cycle, whatnot, in a few years or so, I don't think people are going to be talking about this game all the time like they will with games like Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild and Breath of the Wild 2 and everything. So that's why I consider it underrated. But yes, Astro Chain, just a great game, really good soundtrack, unique combat. I'm not big into anime typically, but great game. I'm hoping that they'll make a second one either on the Switch or early in the lifetime of the next console. So that's my number 3. My number 4 would be Mario Odyssey. I think Mario Odyssey is probably my favorite all-time Mario game. Just really fun game. There's a lot to do after you beat the game. I still haven't collected like all the moons and everything, but haven't played it for a while either. And I'm not sure how many hours I put on it, but I put a pretty good amount. Nothing compared to with my number 1 Breath of the Wild though, and the 250 hours I put in that game, and I still haven't done a lot of stuff, which is what is so crazy about Breath of the Wild. And the other thing, before I get into just the games I have here so far, I think I have 19 physical games so far on the Switch. I think I have about 4 digital only games. I don't buy games digitally unless it's the only option, as I always prefer having a physical copy on any system. Just feel like you don't really truly own something if it's digital, because there's always a chance that it can get pulled at some point and not have it there. Sorry, I'm moving here. I'm kind of watching basketball and stuff too while I'm doing this video. But so there's that. And then with the Switch going into the Switch generation, I consider the Wii and the Wii U the dark time for Nintendo. I didn't care much for either of them. I actually like the Wii U more than the Wii, which I know I'm in the minority on. But the reason for that is that the Wii was basically a GameCube with motion controls. In terms of the power, it wasn't really any stronger than the GameCube, or if it was so little you couldn't really tell. Where the Wii U at least was quite a bit more powerful than the Wii, even if it's still underpowered. And I actually like the games better on the Wii U. But yeah, I was never into motion controls in the first place. Funny thing about that, I actually love the motion controls in Zelda Skyward Sword, even though everybody else seems to hate the motion controls in that game for some reason. That's like the one game I actually liked. them in on the Switch, and I'm looking forward to the HD remake. Is I did only beat the game once, and I just didn't like having to deal with how quickly the Wii eats batteries. If there was a way to get about 7 more games between the Wii and the Wii U ported over to the Switch, I would probably actually get rid of the Wii and the Wii U and just play my Switch and like Super Nintendo, and when it comes to like Nintendo stuff and GameCube, and then with PlayStation, their consoles. But yeah, so like I said, got 19 games on the Switch so far. Physically, I have a few digitally. Digitally only, I have, I believe it's digital only. Yeah, I have Cuphead digitally only. I have Ori and the Blind Forest digital only. And then I know I have, I forget what it's called, but it's very similar to Splatoon in terms of the art style, but plays a lot different. It was a free-to-play game. I got that. I've hardly played it. Should actually probably try a little bit more of that. So I know that's 3. Trying to think. There's a platformer that I haven't gone super far on. Can't remember what it's called either, but it's got kind of a Japanese name to it, I think. But you're basically like it's like an underwater platformer, and it's very different. And I haven't gotten super far, and I actually got kind of stuck in terms of trying to figure out where to go, even though I'm not that far in the game. So yeah, I think that's it for digital only. I think those are the 4. I might be missing one or so. It's hard for me to think off the top of my head. I haven't played my Switch a ton the last year or so. I've been mostly playing like Sony stuff. Kind of need to get back into Switch, but at the same time, I got other games I want to play on PlayStation 5 and stuff. But yeah, I'm just going to show you my games one by one here, and maybe a brief little thought about each. So, and this is in any particular order. This is kind of how I pulled them out. But yeah, I got Hyrule Rollers, Age of Calamity. I have the one that was on the Wii U, but kind of like with Splatoon, I didn't play it a ton. The Wii U one, played this one much more. I beat this game. Haven't done all the collectibles or anything though, and there is DLC coming out, but I enjoyed a pretty good amount. Gameplay is pretty fun, but can be repetitive. But these games are known for being kind of repetitive in how they play. But yeah, DLC's coming out. I'm probably gonna get that, but they haven't really said much about the DLC. We know it's $20. There's a first part coming out in June, I believe, and then another one coming out in like November. There's like 2 packages basically with that DLC, and it's going to add some new locations, some new characters, but like I said, don't know too much detail regarding that yet. So then I have Ori and the Will of the Wisp. This was, I think, the last. No, I'm trying to think. Was this the last game I bought for the Switch? No, it wasn't. I bought it, and this is the last game I bought. I beat the first one. Have not beat this one. I've only played it a little bit. Hadn't played it previously because I don't have Xbox. But yeah, the first game I enjoyed a good amount. This one I've gone somewhat far, but not too far. Probably less than half way into the game. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. Like the first game, good art style, good music, enjoyable platform. I love platformers. Ring Fit exercise game. So this game, haven't played a ton of it, and I've been needing to get back into exercising. I haven't been exercising much for a while. I've had this game for a while, played it, but not too often. But I need to get back into it. It's fun. There's an adventure mode. There's also different like mini games you can do that are kind of cool and work out different parts of your body, upper, lower. There's also it was added an update, and it'd be cool if they added even more to it. But they added, a rhythm mode, which is basically a time-based mode where you're moving. And then with the way the time is, it kind of reminds me of like Rock Band and stuff. Only, you're not just simply pushing buttons with your fingers or whatnot, or going like that with drums or whatever. But it's similar in the way it's timing and stuff. So I got Super Smash Brothers Ultimate. Haven't played a ton of Super Smash Brothers games in the past. This is one of the games on the Switch I should probably play a lot more of. I think I've only played like 5 hours or something, so I haven't even unlocked a lot of the characters on it yet. Then I got Super Mario Maker 2. Never bought the first one on the Wii. Thought about it, never did though. I'm not a very creative person, so typically games like this, I will more just download other people's levels rather than really trying to actually create my own. And I found some interesting ones. It's another game I should probably get back on and check out what levels have been made since I haven't played it for a while. Maybe even look at some videos on the internet to try to find some like really creative levels that maybe I haven't found yet that I could try. Then I got Damien X Machina, Demon X Machina, I guess you could say. Played the demo when this came out, enjoyed it. Haven't played a ton of the full game. I probably only put like an hour or so into this. Another game I could say is in my backlog. I have a huge backlog, not even just on Switch, but on other consoles as well. But I do enjoy this game. Not my favorite, but it's enjoyable. You're basically a character that you're in like a mech machine, think kind of like Iron Man type of thing, and lock on targets and fight enemies and such. Mario Tennis Aces, fun game. Not a lot to do though. Like there's a story mode, but it's pretty darn short. And so yeah, it's a fun game, but like I said, not a ton of gameplay. I played online a little bit, not a ton, but it's enjoyable. It's one of those games kind of play once in a while. Super Mario 3D All Stars. I so far I've only played Galaxy on this. I didn't have it in 64, so I never played Mario 64, actually, believe it or not. Or if I have it, it was very briefly like at a friend's house or something. I've seen some gameplay of it, including like the part where people like throw a penguin off the cliff. That's popular, but yeah. And then even though I had a GameCube, I never really played Sunshine, so... and I haven't played them yet on this. So really I have like 2 of the 3 games on this that I haven't played. And Galaxy I've enjoyed so far, but I haven't played it recently. I thought it was cool that there's like a Luigi's Mansion themed level in there. Thought that was pretty creative. I don't remember how far I got exactly. I know I'm not like at the end though or anything. So Astral Chain, which was number 3 on my list for favorite games on the Switch. Very, like I said, very cool game. You get like these different like robots that you kind of control, and you can let them loose to attack and such. And it's just very different, creative, fun game. Good soundtrack, especially like the end soundtrack got really good. The only thing I don't like about this game really is this is one of those games where you have a difficulty spike at one point that just is absolutely absurd. This game overall, if you play like on, I think there was only 2 difficulties, or there might have been 3. But if you play, I think there was 3. If you played on like the medium difficulty, there were some parts that were challenging that took me a while. But the last boss like gets way, 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 way harder, to the point where I spent probably 20 hours on the last boss before I finally decided, okay, I'm lowering the difficulty. Unfortunate thing, when you lower the difficulty, you have to go through what is called, I think it was a chapter in this. There's like 11 chapters or something. You have to start over at the beginning of the chapter if you lower the difficulty or change the difficulty or whatever. So that's the unfortunate thing. But I finally decided to do it after like 20 hours. Got back to the boss, finally beat him on the first try on a low difficulty, but even then on the low difficulty, and yeah, it was one try, but it literally took like all my health. And when I was playing on the difficulty before that, even in like the 20 hours, I think the most damage I did on the boss was like 30%, so I wasn't even getting close. So that's the one bad thing on that. Starlink Battle for Atlantis, yeah. Enjoyed this game. They added some racing like areas. I don't remember if you had to pay for that or if it was free DLC. It's got some Star Fox missions in it on the Switch version. Typically, a game like this I would buy on PlayStation because it probably performs better on that. But I got it on the Switch because it came with Star Fox like character and some missions and stuff that weren't on the other platformers, and it plays. It definitely reminds me a lot of Star Fox. Heard some people say it kind of plays like No Man's Sky 2 with the way the planets are set up and stuff. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I beat it. Did not do every single side mission though. A lot of games I haven't though. Then I got Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury. I had the original 3D Super Mario, the Super Mario 3D World on the Wii U, but I bought this because of Bowser's Fury. I decided, okay, I'll double dip. Bowser's Fury, a lot of fun. Short though, I beat it in I think 3 days, and I think 100% it in 4. But yeah, it's interesting because Bowser's Fury, the way it's set up, you're basically on like one kind of big area instead of your typical Mario, where you're going from like one planet to another planet, or from one level back to like a level selection map and then another. Instead, this is more like open world. So people are wondering if it might be kind of a test, if you will, for the next 3D Mario game, which would be interesting because, like I said, you've never really had like an open world Mario per se. You've always had like either Mario 64, you had, the panes that you would jump into or out of or whatever. A lot of the games you have like the level selection map or whatever. Odyssey, you have the spaceship or whatever. So yeah, and then with the 3D Super Mario 3D World part of it, I've played it, but only online a couple times, or no, online once with a friend, I think, and at a friend's house once. Haven't played it by myself, but like I said, I did have it on the Wii U. I don't remember if I beat it on the Wii U. I either got to the last level and never beat it, or I beat it. And the reason I don't remember is because you have to collect some stuff where if you don't have enough, you have to backtrack to like unlock different levels and stuff. And I might have gone to the final level, not having enough, having to backtrack and not ever getting what I needed to open that last level, but I don't remember. Then I got The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. So I beat this back on the Game Boy Color. It's definitely was an overpriced port, remake, if you will. Not port, but remake, if you will. But Nintendo does that. Unfortunately, that's one thing I hate about Nintendo as well as Disney. They overcharge for things big time. And their prices like never go down. But it's a short game, but I did enjoy it. And I beat it, I think, twice or something back on the Game Boy Color. I think it was the first handheld Zelda I've been back then, because I've been more handheld Zelda games than I have home console ones. One of my friends is the opposite, where he's being more handhelds than he has home console Zeldas. Okay, so I got Splatoon 2. Like I said, that was my number 2 favorite game earlier on the Switch. Just like how different it is than your typical shooter, and I hate first person. So the fact that this is third person is a big plus too. And Splatoon 3 has been announced for next year. I'm guessing it'll be a summer game again, like this was back in 2017. And it'll be interesting to see what has all been changed. One thing I got to think with Splatoon 3 is that I would think, even though Splatoon games are like more of an online game, they do have a single player mode. And in 1 and 2, the single player mode was fun, but very short. But Splatoon 3, I think they got to come out with a single player at launch that's a decent length, because in Splatoon 2, they added Octo Expansion, which is a single player DLC. And it was a really good DLC. I haven't beat it actually yet, but I put a decent amount of time into it. And it's hard, challenging, fun. Like I said, pretty good length. And so I just kind of feel like if Splatoon 3 launches and it doesn't have something similar to quality in single player after having that as a DLC in the second game, I think that a lot of people would kind of feel disappointed in a sense with Splatoon 3. They would feel, I think a lot of people would kind of feel like that's a backstep to not, have that quality of a single player at launch when you had it with a DLC in the second game. So then I got New Super Lucky Tale. This was a game that was on Xbox originally, Then came out on the Wii U. I think it might even be on PlayStation now. It's a platformer, very easy platformer, but I enjoyed it. I don't remember how long it took me to beat, but I just remember it being pretty easy. Like I didn't die a lot. Luigi's Mansion 3 then. So Luigi's Mansion, I had never played any of them before, but I thought this looked pretty cool back when it was first being shown and stuff with Luigi. I thought that was an interesting mechanic. And yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. Back when it came out, I believe that was 2019, right around Halloween. I played it. Got, I think, pretty relatively far. I think I got about halfway. Then put it to the side. Just kind of got distracted with other games in life and whatnot. And then I picked it back up early last year and beat it. And yeah, I thought it was enjoyable. Looks pretty good too. I know some people are saying it's one of the better looking games on the Switch graphically. And the fact that there's a lot of expressions on Luigi's face and such. So I'm down to 4 more games. So Super Mario Odyssey, which I mentioned was my number 4 favorite game when I did the 4 favorite games for the 4-year anniversary at the beginning of the video. Like I said, I think this is my favorite Mario game of all time. Super Mario World on Super Nintendo holds a special place in my heart too, because I think it's one of the better ones as well. And it was one of the first. It was the first Mario game I played, and it was probably one of the first 5 or so games that I ever played on Super Nintendo, which was my first home console I ever owned. As I was probably about 5 or 6 when I first started playing the Super Nintendo. So then I got Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, The Black Order. So I I played the second game on PlayStation 3. I don't remember if I ever beat it or not. The first game I don't think I ever played, so I don't really know how much of a difference there was between 1 and 2. And it's hard for me to say from 2 to 3 because it's been so long since I played the second one. But this game I enjoyed. You can get a lot of playing time out of this because there's different challenges you unlock that you can go through and do as you open like these portal things. And then you can do those challenges. And I like that all the characters have like different suits. On the back it says over 30 characters. There's some DLC characters too. I think I did buy the DLC, but haven't played a ton of it. But I beat the main game, and some of the challenges, there's still a lot I haven't done. Don't remember how many hours I put in it. So Zelda Breath of the Wild. Don't have to say much about this all-time favorite game. Passing Ocarina of Time. Ocarina of Time was my favorite before this, and I actually played Ocarina of Time technically late. I didn't ever really play Ocarina of Time until like 2004 or something, when my first GameCube broke and I got the like collection Zelda thing, disc thing with my GameCube, and that was the first time I played Ocarina of Time. So I don't even have like with Ocarina of Time necessarily the nostalgia of it or being like, wow, I can't believe this, this game for this time period per se, because since I played it, I don't know, 6 years or so after it had been out, I had experienced some 3D games and stuff where back when Ocarina of Time came out, 3D games were more of a novelty than they are now, or even when I played it, but still loved it. And this finally passed it for me. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I feel like it's a flawed Zelda game because it does have some things missing that I think of when I think of Zelda, but still unbelievable masterpiece of a game, and I can't wait for the sequel. And I think the sequel will surpass this because of the fact that even though this is a great game, it had flaws, so it's not like it's some impossible thing to beat. You just add in more old school style dungeons and more of a story and have it be similar to this, and there you go. And then the last one, so I had a couple games here that were made by like independent developers. I don't typically play a ton of games made by independent developers. Just most of them don't personally interest me, but some do. This one is an independent developer. It was also on Xbox first. I don't know if it's on PlayStation now or not. Platformer called A Hat in Time. So I heard about this game really from my friend. I beat it once, might go through it again. I was actually kind of thinking about that recently because I'm just looking at the back. I don't know because they had Seal the Dill, which was a DLC, and one of the things was new difficulty mode. I don't know. Death Wish, I guess. I don't know if I ever tried the new difficulty mode in it to see, how much harder it was, if it was like crazy hard or just, a little bit harder or what. But yeah, had in time, I like this game a lot. Two things that stood out to me in this game were good soundtrack, and all the different characters had a lot of personality, which I really, really liked. One of my favorite levels in this game was a level where you're on like a train, you kind of get into that whole there's been a murder on the Oriental Express, got to find out who committed the murder, that type of thing, because we've had a lot of movies and such with that, or shows that have had something similar to where like people are trying to solve a murder or play in a game or whatever of who was the murderer on a train or whatever. But yeah, that level I liked a lot, and like I said, just a lot of cool, interesting characters in this game with a lot of personality, great soundtrack, and levels were pretty darn good too. So yeah, I beat it once, might play it again down the line. But yeah, that's all 19 of my my physical games that I have on the Switch currently. Last year was kind of a slow year for me on the Switch, like probably a lot of people. 2019 was loaded. 2018, I think, was a little slower in 2017. So it's kind of been an every other year thing. And it's hard to say this year. This year originally looked like it was going to be loaded for both PlayStation third-party games as well as the Switch. But because of COVID, that may not happen. There's been a lot of game delays already, and especially considering we're only a couple months into the year. But there's been a lot of delays for games that were supposed to come out this year being pushed to next year, or games that being delayed from, say, early this year to later this year, or even some games that were supposed to come out last year that have still not came out, such as Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga. It was supposed to be a late 2020 game, got pushed to spring 2021. And now, because we're almost to spring, they haven't officially announced the release date or update on that game. A lot of people are wondering if it might get delayed till summer or fall now, so we'll see. And so that's why I'm not really sure what to expect from Nintendo this year. I do plan on getting Skyward Sword HD, so that might be my 20th game, because I can't think of anything else on the Switch that's coming out before that. Try to think. Mario Golf, I do plan on getting, and I'm trying. I think that I think that comes out in June, and Skyward Sword HD in July. So actually, yeah, Mario Golf will probably be my 20th physical game. Skyward Sword will probably be my 21st physical game. And then beyond that, not really sure. Just kind of depends on, do we get Breath of the Wild 2? Are we going to get more Zelda 35-year anniversary stuff, since they haven't technically done a 35-year anniversary thing yet? A lot of rumors about Twilight Princess and Wind Waker coming to the Switch from the Wii U port, which for me personally, if that happens, I probably won't buy them, just because I already have the HD version on the Wii U, and I don't think there's going to be too much of a difference on the Switch. Now, if we had never gotten those before and we were getting for the first time, that'd be different. But because we've gone, I'm not too interested in that. So I'm kind of in the minority on that, because a lot of people didn't have the Wii U, which is why they want those ports. But because I have it personally, I would much rather get an Ocarina of Time and a Majora's Mask HD, either collection of the two or individually, because we've never gotten Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask in HD. We've gotten them remade on a 3DS, but it's not in HD, as well as the ability to play on a TV screen, because the 3D version obviously is a handheld. It's been talked about porting maybe that over to the Switch, but it's not HD. And given the ability to play Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask in HD for the first time, I think that would be pretty sweet, especially coming from if you're someone like me that only played them on either the GameCube collection or the N64 and never played the 3DSs, then not only would you have a chance to play the HD version, but you'd also have a chance to play at a more good, stable frame rate, because Ocarina of Time doesn't run the best, even though I still love the game. It does run like 24, 20 frames per second, something like that. Quite a bit. So yeah, but about half an hour into this video, and I think I pretty much covered everything. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. As always, put your comments below what you thought of the video, and just overall, what have you thought of the Switch? Have you liked the Switch? Have you not? What are your favorite games on the Switch? What would you like to see come to the Switch? Any of that stuff. Are you excited about the rumors of the Switch Pro? Because there's been rumors of a Switch Pro really since I think early 2019. And there's more rumors now about a Switch Pro with like an OLED screen or something, and be able to play games docked in 4K, which I think would be cool. Kind of feel like we're overdue for a Pro, though. At this point, I'm almost wondering if it would be better to just wait for the Switch 2 or whatever Nintendo's next gen console is called, because we're already past the 4-year mark, which means we're already past likely the halfway point for the console. And if it comes out towards the end of the year, then you're going to be getting closer to the 5-year mark. But there's been rumors about that, and if the Switch Pro does come out later this year, then that means Breath of the Wild 2 will probably come out with it, because that would be probably the game they'd want to kind of showcase on the console. So yeah, just thoughts on that. But I'm going to go ahead and end this video. Thanks for tuning in. Good night.